Welcome back to Banging the Can, the Houston sports show that does not apologize for championship rings and tings, presented by Bolen Media. I am Ross Bolen, and oh no, we suck again! I didn't even want to do today's show. That's how bad the Texans were against the lowly, embarrassing, despicable New York Jets. That's how unenjoyable it was watching that shit show. A totally and utterly uninspired performance from a team that had real momentum in recapturing the hearts of Houstonians before Sunday, and now it's all gone.
And it's gone.
What?
It's gone. It's all gone.
30-6. We lost to the Jets 30-6. What the hell was that? We failed to score a single point in the first quarter. We failed to score a single point in the second quarter. So we failed to score a single point in the first half. And fortunately, the Jets also failed to score a single point in the first half. Here's a summary of the first half. Punt, 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 punt. You get the point. Nothing but punts. It was a punting show. We finally punched in a touchdown in the third quarter, but Amendola missed the PAT, which was probably the last one we'll ever see him kick because he got released now that finally Fairbairn is ready to return. And we failed to score a single point in the fourth quarter. Embarrassing. This was an embarrassing game for a team that we all thought was done with embarrassment. And maybe we all got a little out in front of our skis as fans because our defense made Zach Wilson look like Aaron fucking Rodgers. Zach Wilson went 27 for 36 for 301 yards and 2 touchdowns with no interceptions. That's the kind of stat line we have come to expect from our quarterback, CJ Stroud, who went 10 for 23 for 91 yards. Not a single touchdown pass. Granted, he didn't throw a pick either, but 91 yards through the air for CJ Stroud? What the fuck happened here? And you can't blame the referees for this one, kids. Holy shit, what a disaster. The boys showed up to the game wearing badass Tank Dell shirts in honor of the injured wide receiver, then went out and completely shit the bed. If you're going to wear shirts in support of your fallen comrade, you probably don't want to go out and play like you've given up on the season, and that's what this team looked like on Sunday. Nico Collins became just the 4th Texans wide receiver in franchise history to eclipse 1,000 receiving yards with a 13-yard catch in the first quarter, joining Andre Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, and Brandon Cooks. And then he got hurt, and Nico Collins was out the rest of the game. Linebacker Blake Cashman left with a hamstring injury. Defensive back Tavier Thomas left with a hamstring injury. Will Anderson Jr. hurt his ankle. CJ Stroud entered concussion protocol. Literally everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. It was the nightmare before Christmas out there, and apparently the turf is at least partially to blame. That turf is trash, man, tight end Brevin Jordan told reporters in the visitors' locker room on Sunday. He said, quote, "I think everybody in the NFL can somewhat agree on that MetLife Stadium turf is not a fun thing to play on," end quote. So at least we got some kind of reasoning behind having to watch important players go down left and right. Ugh. Game made me want to puke.
I'm going to throw up. I think I'm going to throw up.
Don't throw up.
I'm going to throw it up.
So the Texans fell to 7-6 on the season, which is basically where we hoped we'd be in this new era with a rookie head coach in DeMeco Ryans and a rookie quarterback in CJ Stroud. But this game showed us that we are still not serious people. We're just not there yet. We're an extremely talented young team that can beat almost anyone in this league on any given Sunday, but unfortunately, we are also a very inexperienced and injured team that can lose to anyone on any given Sunday and are capable of getting blown out by the fucking Jets. There are a lot of areas this team needs to improve, obviously, between this season and next. And this one isn't over yet, and we'll get to that, but I'm just saying, like, obvious things that have got to change before we can be taken seriously as contenders, which is the goal, right? And I don't think any of us should have the expectation or should have had the expectation going into this season that that would happen this year. But something about some of those games, I mean, we just looked so good sometimes. We got to 7-5. We're right there with a chance at the division still and the playoffs still. And we all got excited. And as Texans fans, we've been living a life of misery for a really, really long time. And there was so much positivity to soak in and grab hold of. We got a little carried away, I think. I know I did. And watching the Jets game on Sunday brought me back down to earth. Now, we can still make the playoffs, of course. It's not like we're mathematically eliminated. But do we even want to make the playoffs at this point? Like, we don't even know if C.J. Stroud will be playing this Sunday against the Titans in Tennessee. So we might be watching Davis the Neck Mills again. We don't know if Nico Collins will play. And at this point, honestly, look, we've got 4 games left in this season. My only hope is that we make it out alive. We are looking to the future here. And the future requires that C.J. Stroud is healthy, that Tank Dell is healthy, that Nico Collins is healthy, that our defensive leaders are healthy. And right now, nobody is healthy. And I just want it to end. I just want it to end. I just want it to stop. We had a good season, a lot of positivity. Like I said, feeling all warm and fuzzy inside is not something I have gotten to do about football in a really long time. And now after watching the Jets game, I'm scared that by the time we're done with these last 4 games, it'll all be for naught, and I'll lose all that warm and fuzzy goodness, and it's just going to be shit again. And I don't want that. I don't want to go back to the basement. We spent too many years there. I don't want to go back. It's scary and dark and damp down there and cold and lonely. Please, God, no more pain. Depending on how Sunday goes against the Titans, like, I am nearing the point of saying, let's just run Davis Mills out there for the rest of the season and try to cut our losses and move on to 2024, because I cannot stand to watch C.J. Stroud get his head bounced off the turf. I cannot stand to see our number 1 wide receiver go down, our number 2 wide receiver go down. Like, our fucking receiving core is getting decimated game by game. We've been unhealthy the whole season pretty much. We started off the season with a banged-up offensive line. We had banged-up defensive backs and corners and safeties, and now we've moved on to the linebackers, and just fucking everybody's getting hurt. I just can't take it anymore. It has to stop. The negativity is affecting me in a negative way. And also, you can't expect fans to be all in with this team yet, okay? So, like, if you're not understanding, like, getting owned by the Jets, it crushed my soul. So I don't want to hear shit about not getting enough Texans fans showing up to home games the rest of the season, because we just aren't there yet. We aren't there yet. You cannot expect fans to be all in with the Texans when we're getting blown out by Zach Wilson and the fucking Jets, when the offense is completely incapable of producing anything of note against an admittedly stout Jets defense. But more importantly, our defense is incapable of stopping Zach fucking Wilson. We may have just saved that man's career. I'm in a bad place. That game put me in a bad place, mentally, emotionally. I need to talk about something else. Let's move on. This bustling holiday season, you might be looking for nutritious, convenient meals to keep you energized on jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle while tackling all your holiday to-dos. Today's episode is brought to you by Factor. I've got 2 kids under 5 at home, a small business to run, and a total lack of cooking skills. So all 2023 long, I have been relying on and loving Factor meals. But now, during the insanity of the holiday season, I'm even more thankful for Factor than ever. Cross meal prepping off your list this holiday season with Factor. Skip the meal planning, grocery shopping, chopping, prepping, and cleaning up, and get Factor's fresh, never frozen meals delivered to your door. They're ready in just 2 minutes. All you have to do is heat and enjoy, and they are delicious. I've eaten hundreds of these things this year, and they are great. I have tried a lot of these ready-to-eat meal services, this one is the best by far. Factor tastes so much better. Great portions. By the way, if you're looking for calorie-conscious options over the holidays that don't skimp on flavor, try delicious dietitian-approved calorie-smart meals with around or less than 550 calories per serving. Or need an extra boost to support your wellness goals and feel your best during the holidays? Try Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. And with Factor, you can rest assured you're making a sustainable choice. They offset 100% of their delivery emissions, source 100% renewable electricity for their production sites and offices, and feature sustainably sourced seafood in their meals. This December, get Factor. Enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/BTC50 and use code BTC50 to get 50% off. That's code BTC50 at factormeals.com/BTC50 to get 50% off. FACTORMEALS. Factormeals.com/BTC50 for 50% off. All right, let's check in with the Rockets. Had a positive couple last games, I should say. We beat the Nuggets again, 114-106. First of all, I feel like we played the Nuggets like 7 times already. I'm not sure how that's possible. Are we just getting all of our Denver games in the first half of the season before the All-Star break? But as I said last time we beat the Nuggets, it feels like we just match up well with that team. Like there's just something about the way we match up with the Nuggets that makes us better against them than anyone else in the league is against them. I'm not saying it's not a positive win. It is. But I do feel like there's something going on there. Like we shouldn't put too much weight on these wins against the Nuggets because we just match up well against them. That's the only way I know how to put it. And then we beat the Spurs 93-82. And yes, that's a real score in 2023 in the NBA. It's crazy. It sounds like a 90s score, 1990s. One of the ugliest basketball games of the season so far. One of the ugliest games I've ever watched. Just was a shit show. So by the way, if you went from watching the Texans versus the Jets to watching the next day, or maybe it was that night, but in a 24-hour window, the Rockets versus the Spurs, that was too much bad sports. I did it, and it was not. I felt my brain feels yucky. That was 2 terrible sports games back-to-back for Houston fans. Brutal. And the Spurs suck ass, by the way. If you want to check in with where we're at compared to some of the other teams that were in the basement of the NBA for a few years now that are rebuilding, the Spurs have lost 17 games in a row. 17 games in a row with Victor Wembanyama, who, by the way, posterized Alperen Şengün. And look, that's going to happen. The guy is a fucking giraffe out there. What are you supposed to do? He's going to posterize people. He's going to posterize whoever's guarding him pretty much every freaking game. The dude is a freak show. But they've lost 17 games in a row. Greg Popovich, Victor Wembanyama, and the Spurs have lost 17 consecutive basketball games. And somehow, that's not the worst losing streak in the league. The Detroit Pistons have lost 20 consecutive games. 20 losses in a row. So to put it plainly, God bless America, we are no longer one of the 2-3 worst teams in this league. We've worked our way toward the middle of the pack. Great job by Ime Udoka, I guess somewhat by Raphael Stone, although I'm still hesitant to give him any credit. I don't like our GM. Great job by Ime Udoka, though. Great job by Fred VanVleet leading this team as the point guard. Dylan Brooks has been a solid anchor defensively. You can see that a lot of the young guys are getting that knowledge that they need to take the next steps in their NBA careers. With the exception of, I guess, one, Jalen Green, who's wildly inconsistent every time that we think Jalen Green has turned the corner and that he's going to produce more efficiently and more consistently offensively. Then he has a game where you're just like, what the hell is he doing out there? Where he looks completely lost, where he's not really an effective part of the offensive flow, where he's missing shots. And I don't know what to make of it. We've gotten to the point now with Jalen Green, who for the last couple seasons we've all seen as a probable cornerstone of this franchise moving forward, for who a couple years was billed as the future of the Houston Rockets. Fans are turning on him. Like Rockets fans and media guys are commenting on whether or not we should trade Jalen Green, what our options are with Jalen Green, what kind of what we would get back in the trade market for Jalen Green. And I don't think we need to be there personally. Like the team is good enough and we've got enough going on to not need to like get rid of a potential big piece that could be better in the future. But certainly of all the progress we've seen this season, the lack thereof with Jalen Green is I think everybody who's a Rockets fan, everybody who's really following the team closely, it's our biggest concern. You're seeing everybody else do what they should be doing, what we want them to be doing. And then there's this just one guy who we all thought was going to be a future superstar, all-star in this league who can't put it together consistently. That was his problem the last couple years too, certainly last season. And I thought Ime Udoka would be able to kind of get him more on the right page. It's still something that is not clicking for him yet. And we need it to click for Jalen Green. We do. He is a guy that could take us from the middle of the pack towards the top. Maybe not a top 5 team necessarily yet, but like in the top 10. And right now he's just not getting it done. And it's getting kind of sad to watch in some ways, right? Because I mean, if you've seen the dude, he's got the talent. He's got the athleticism. So it seems like it's a mindset issue. And maybe that those years with Steven Silas drove him down to the ground mentally and he's yet to recover. I don't know. He hasn't found his place yet. And we need him to do that because he could be a very important part of our future if he can pull it together. But yeah, Rockets fans in general seem to be turning on this guy. The patience is wearing thin, and we need to see him make the next steps over the rest of the season, or things are going to get weird in the offseason for Jalen Green. Speaking of basketball, just a comment on this. Draymond Green basically tried to knock out Yusuf Nurkic last night and got ejected, flagrant 2. If you haven't watched the play yet, classic Draymond Green on the Warriors moment with another just wildly unnecessary, inexcusable attack on a player on the other team. It's just like a spinning backhand to the dude's head. And Draymond Green's career, like at different points, I've wanted to defend the guy, and certainly after he entered the media market with his podcast, and I know like he's good at that, and he's good at talking basketball. He's got good takes. I enjoy him as a media guy, and I came around to like trying to not hate Draymond Green again, but this is like the 3rd or 5th time this has happened this season. He just keeps doing the same shit where he's like, he was always hateable, but now that the Warriors aren't really contenders anymore, like they're on the downslide, it's somehow worse. And I feel like if he keeps this up, what I thought would for sure be another $50 to $100 million in the bank for him after he retires from the NBA and joins the media suddenly becomes a little murkier because it's like, I don't know if I want to watch this dude talk about anything. He's just an asshole. He's got like some serious fucking problems dealing, like physically controlling his body. Just stop cheap shotting people, dude. My God. People give Dylan Brooks a lot of shit. There is nobody that should get more shit in this league than Draymond Green. He's so utterly despicable with the way that he handles himself game to game. He's constantly getting ejected. He's constantly doing shit that makes you shake your head. And there's like certain things in sports that are acceptable, and then there's a very hard line, and then there's the shit that's not. And if you've ever played like pickup, if somebody did what he did to Nurkic in a pickup basketball game, 100% hands are getting thrown. A fight is breaking out. And that's the NBA's concern with this guy, right? Is like, how many times can he do this cheap shot shit before it turns into an all-out brawl and you have like a Malice at the Palace situation? Because fans hate this dude, and they're going to want to let that hate out. And he just doesn't know. He just doesn't get it or something. Like I think Steve Kerr has made it a point to really press on him this year. Like, we need you out there. We're not the team we used to be. You're an important part of this, like, any chance that we have at success. And he's still doing it. He's still like this play. Go watch it. Absurd move to spin around and hit this dude. And like in the post game, he apologized in his presser and said that Nurkic was like holding his hip or something. But like, no, man, he just freaked out. He got frustrated and he flailed, but he flailed in a way that was like very blatantly trying to hit the dude. And then he says, like, I try to sell calls with my arms. I don't flop. It's like, brother, trying to sell a call with any part of your body is still a flop. Some guys do the head jerk, the head back like they've been shot, you know? That's what Harden used to do a lot. Draymond does whatever with his arms, but also his feet. He's just flailing, kicking, punching without even meaning to or something is his explanation. The dude sucks, and this is one of his funniest ejections ever. It's not funny if you're Nurkic because you got whacked in the head, like nearly knocked out. But I am at the point where I'm like, I can't wait for Draymond Green to be a thing we don't have to even know about anymore. He's a despicable character in the NBA, and that was that one. This dude, he's out of control. Other biggest news in the sports world. Shohei Ohtani obviously officially left the Angels, became a free agent, signs with the Dodgers, so stays in Los Angeles, signs with the Dodgers $700 million for 10 years. Now, before we get into the ins and outs of like the deferment and all the different crazy shit with his salary, what does this mean for the Dodgers? I don't really know. They may have just paid $700 million for a DH next season. Like he can't pitch in 2024, right? So you're really waiting till 2025 to see him on the mound again. I think pitchers, as we've seen with, as an example, Lance McCullers Jr., once you start to experience problems with your arm, the likelihood that you'll have problems with your arm in the future skyrocket. And I'm not, as a baseball fan, I hope this guy is healthy. I hope he gets healthy. I hope he stays healthy. I think watching him on a baseball field is one of the more magical things we've ever gotten to do. If you love baseball, it's freaking crazy to see a dude produce the way that he does as a pitcher and a hitter. It has never really happened before on this level, and it may never happen again ever. He is a pure anomaly, a freak. And so if you're just talking from a baseball standpoint, I want to see Shohei Ohtani healthy. Now, if you're factoring in that he's on the Dodgers, who I hate, fuck the Dodgers, I hope this goes horribly wrong and backfires and that it's $700 million that puts their team in a terrible place for the next 10 years and beyond. Now, that being said, the Dodgers are just like the Yankees, right? They're just stacking the roster with future Hall of Famers. The Yankees didn't even make the playoffs last year. Granted, they just brought in Juan Soto to try and, further bolster their ridiculous roster. But as we've seen in the past, teams like this, like super teams, I'm doing air quotes here if you're just listening, super teams in baseball don't really work. Like, that's not really a thing. Like, you can put Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout on the same team, two guys that are beyond argument, top five, like both arguably the greatest player of all time, and you don't make the playoffs once together. Baseball doesn't really work that way. There's something weird about team chemistry and the way that baseball goes as a sport, as a game, that you can't just stack the roster with all-stars and expect to get anything out of it necessarily. Like the Yankees last year missing the playoffs was another phenomenal historical example. So I don't really know what's going to happen here. Like the Dodgers look great on paper, obviously. Like you can't argue otherwise. They make the playoffs every year, but they're perennial playoff chokers, which we've seen. And I'm excited to kind of see how this thing goes. But then also there's I feel like this is going to change the perception of fans, because if you haven't heard the news, I think $680 million of the $700 million he will be owed by the Dodgers. It's all fully guaranteed. $680 million of it is deferred until the end of his deal. So he'll only be getting paid, like physical money, $2 million a year for the next 10 years. And if you're wondering, how is he able to do that? He makes so much money, Shohei Ohtani, through endorsement deals that it's not really necessary that he's bringing in that much from his actual salary in terms of his personal lifestyle, expenses, whatever. And this was his idea, apparently, right? Like, he's making a sacrifice here, no doubt. Like, when you factor in things like inflation, I really don't understand how you make sense of this. When you factor in the fact that, like, it's a decade, like, bro, life is crazy. Any of us could go at any minute. 10 years waiting 10 years to get all that money, it seems risky, right? Now, there's a huge risk on both sides. There's a big risk for the Dodgers just signing him. And like, if he breaks his leg next season, they're fucked. And they're going to look like morons. And it's going to be crazy. But like the wider ranging implications of the way that this deal was handled by Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers and the deferring of 680 of the 700 million, until the end of the 10-year deal has caused a ton of confusion for baseball fans like myself. Like the original reaction, people were like, whoa, that's bullshit. That's cheating. This shouldn't be allowed. This is a loophole that they're exploiting. But you got to remember, stuff like this has happened before. Like one of the crazy things that had people upset, Ken Griffey Jr., who retired years and years and years and years ago, will get paid next year more than Shohei Ohtani. I think Griffey gets like $3.2 million or something like that. Bobby Bonilla is another example of somebody that's still getting paid, right? Bobby Bonilla will get paid just slightly less than Shohei Ohtani, I think $1.8 million in 2024. That has people freaking out, non-Dodgers fans, because we're all sitting here going, what the fuck? That's not fair. How can they get away with this? Like, it gives them the ability to maneuver and sign other guys that maybe they wouldn't have gotten to otherwise and make their roster even better, which was Shohei Ohtani's entire point, and obviously the Dodgers as well. But it doesn't only hit their salary cap for $2 million a season. That's the thing you got to realize about this. Like, it still impacts their salary cap like $35 or $40 million a year or something like that. So it's not as big of a loophole as it seems when you first read the story. And admittedly, I don't have a full understanding of this yet. I'm still pretty confused about like, okay, well, why wouldn't and here's the question for Astros fans that I'm seeing people ask already. Why wouldn't Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman both do a similar deal? Now, obviously not for $700 million, but similar in the way that it defers the bulk of payment until the end of the deal so that the Astros have more room to maneuver and do things like extend Kyle Tucker or bring in more players or whatever. And like, I don't really know the answer to that question. I think, number one, most guys aren't going to be willing to do what Shohei Ohtani has done here and defer the bulk of the money they are owed until the deal is over. Two, I'm not sure a lot of owners are going to be willing to do this in terms of like what the Dodgers are risking here and like how they're backloading this entire thing. I don't really know. But this is obviously a really big offseason for the Astros in terms of how Dana Brown is going to handle Jose Altuve's future, Alex Bregman's future. Both of those guys become free agents after next season. Excuse me. Kyle Tucker, obviously another dude we want to see get signed longer term. Some of the young talent cornerstone guys other than Yordan Alvarez, who we already took care of before the 2023 season, which, again, I would note is got to go down as one of the greatest contracts in terms of team friendliness in the history of sports. There's a lot to be done for the Astros. There's a lot of concern around like how we operate versus some of these top teams like the Dodgers, like the Yankees, I guess are still like talent-wise, the Yankees are still a top team. They don't produce like a top team. They don't even make the playoffs. They're an embarrassment. But these are the teams we look at when we're comparing ourselves, the Astros, and our roster to other teams and their rosters, right? And if you're looking at like the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and what their ownership is spending to get all of these big names, and like, because here's the other side of it. The Dodgers' risk is offset by how much money they're going to make in ticket sales, in merchandise sales, in media, in brand value. Like the Dodgers team value will increase exponentially over the next decade because they'll be talked about constantly, and the international value of the brand skyrockets with Shohei Ohtani as well. They become the most famous baseball team on the planet essentially by signing him. And they already have a bunch of other guys that make them one of the most famous baseball teams on the planet, and they make the playoffs every season. And so it's a great deal from the perspective of like, I don't think there's really any way the Dodgers can lose financially here. They may lose on the field, but from a financial standpoint, like I feel like they're going to make money no matter what. And them having an understanding of how much money there is to be made just having this guy on your team, I think is what makes the deal smart on their end. But the Astros don't roll that way, right? Like one of the problems we're looking at right now is like Alex Bregman is going to want an 8 to 10 year deal. That's what he's going to try to go out and get. And our owner, Jim Crane, does not give out deals like that. See Carlos Correa most recently. Like he had to walk and he didn't even get what he wanted. And that whole thing kind of backfired on Correa, I think. But like the Astros didn't even try to re-sign him. We were just like, nope, it's the Jeremy Pena era now. And for any of you who are like, we did try to re-sign him, we offered him a contract, there is a lot of dispute around that. I didn't bring this up during the playoffs because we had bigger fish to fry. But Correa's wife was in my Instagram comments arguing with Astros fans who were saying, no, we offered Correa this many dollars, this many years. She says they never even heard from the Astros, which just furthers my point that we don't really do the big name superstar signings for the sake of like the brand and the team value. Like Jim Crane operates in a different way, and it has worked, admittedly, but it puts Astros fans in a position where we're like, we want to be like the big dogs, right? Like, we all see ourselves as one of the big dogs, but we want to operate like these crazy star signing billion-dollar, deals getting thrown around. Like we want to see some of that action. And in a year where we had a huge letdown, losing the ALCS to the hated Rangers, I think we are even more prone this offseason to expect fireworks. We want to see some shit happen. We want to see our new GM, Dana Brown, make the team better. And we want to see stuff that gets us excited, right? Shohei Ohtani puts asses in seats. The Astros team puts asses in seats, but we don't really have a dude who's like, oh, you've got to go see him play. You know what I mean? Like Altuve arguably, Yordan Alvarez arguably, but like things didn't go right in 2023 for us with those two guys. A lot of time on the IR. So Justin Verlander arguably is one of those guys, but like, we don't make these huge splash signings really, and we move in a different way. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong necessarily, but it certainly makes you anxious as an Astros fan to see the Dodgers go out and land Otani when we're like, we were never even in the conversation. And we know our owner doesn't spend like over the salary cap and put us in the huge luxury tax thresholds, and like baseball's salary shit is really complicated, admittedly, like at 36 years old, having been a massive fan of the game since I was fucking 5, I still don't know how it works. I still don't really understand how it works. And there aren't that many other big names out there available now. There's 4 or 5 guys, that now that the Otani domino has fallen, we'll see what happens with them too. But it puts us in a strange place as Astros fans, and I can tell, it's like, I feel this for sure, but I also have a certain amount of like common sense that keeps me from going full tilt with it. But you're going to see fans who are like, why don't we do stuff like this? Like, why don't we sign guys like Otani or like Juan Soto, like the Yankees just did? Like, why aren't we throwing all of the pushing all of our chips into the middle of the table? And in some sense, I do agree. Like, with the run that this team has been on, with making 7 consecutive American League Championship Series, with winning 2 World Series titles, with becoming a perennial October fixture in the sport of Major League Baseball, like, I do think we are obviously we are nearing the end of maybe not the dynasty, but like nearing the end of this iteration of the dynasty where guys like Altuve, who apparently our plan is to sign for life, are nearing the end of a deal. Bregman, another guy who's been a cornerstone face of the franchise since he came into the league, like nearing the end of his deal, right? Kyle Tucker up for extension, doing arbitration. Like there's a lot of question. Like really the only cornerstone dude we know we have locked down for the foreseeable future is Yordan Alvarez. And that's great, but that's one guy and one name. And the second he gets hurt, the offense is suddenly a mess like we saw during big chunks of last season, during the 2023 season. So I think as an Astros fan, there are some questions that are yet to be answered here in terms of what Jim Crane's management ownership style is going to mean for the next couple seasons. And I've said it ad nauseum over the past several months, like it's going to be a big 2-year stretch here for the Astros, for Astros baseball, for Astros fans to see how we move into the next phase of this incredible run that this franchise has had. Because we want to see it maintained or escalated. We don't want to see a dip. We don't want to go through a mini rebuild. We don't want to go through a year where we're like, another year like last year, frankly. If 2024 is another year where we are on the bubble of even making the playoffs, we have some luck break our way and we still win the division, but then we celebrate winning the division, and then the team we won the division over and the Rangers knocks us out of the ALCS so we don't even make the World Series, then they go on to win the World Series. That backfired. There was a lot of disappointment there. There still is. And so it's an offseason where we are all primed to expect Jim Crane and Dana Brown to do big things, to put their stamp on the league and say, we are not going fucking anywhere. And so far, crickets. We signed a catcher to back up our catcher. Maldonado's officially out. Yanier Diaz is the guy now. And that's great. I think we all agreed that should happen, but that's not a big splash. That's just evolution. So is there going to be a big splash? Are we supposed to expect nothing else and just hope things go well in 2024? That's where I get a little antsy. And I know a lot of you do too. And I'm not hitting the panic button or anything like that, but I don't want to do 2023 again. I want to win 100-plus games, win the division, and make our mark by going back to the World Series next year. I think that, if never before, that is the expectation next season. After a disappointing 2023, nearing the end of this phase of the dynasty, the expectation is 100% getting back to the World Series. And baseball's crazy. Shit happens. I get it. But that's not where we're living. That's not the headspace we stay in as Astros fans, and that's not the space that the front office should be in, or owner Jim Crane, or any of the players on the team. Because we've seen consistent results for 7 consecutive seasons. And we want to see an exclamation mark at the end of all this, not a whimper. We don't want to go out with a whimper. We want to go out with a bang. And so whether or not that means spending a bunch of money, going crazy, going all in, whether or not Jim Crane would even do that, how much room Dana Brown has to maneuver, we don't really know the answers to these questions because like they did in the Dusty Baker era, you have to expect that they'll continue to play things close to the chest. We've got a new manager in Espada. We've got a new GM. In some ways, this is a new era of Astros baseball. Is it going to be like the last era? It's yet to be determined. But all I'm saying, the Otani thing sends ripples through the whole fucking league. The Yankees signing Juan Soto, similarly, not on the same level, right? At least the Dodgers made the playoffs before choking. The Yankees just choked all season and didn't even make the playoffs. I think the combination of those two signings with the Rangers winning the World Series and knocking the Astros out has put us in a place as fans where we're like, all right, it's time to put your money where your mouth is, Jim Crane. But he's not, his mouth, I don't even know about, he doesn't come out and say much. So anyway, there's a degree of unease that I think is perfectly acceptable and to be expected based on everything that's happened in this offseason. That's what I'm saying. And I'm interested to hear y'all's thoughts. If you're here watching on YouTube, first of all, subscribe, comment with your thoughts on the Otani situation, with your thoughts on the Astros offseason, with letting Maldonado go. By the way, respect to Maldonado, legend forever. Love him, but it was also time to turn the page. Excited to see what Yanier Diaz can bring to the table in terms of his offensive production as part of the lineup next year. I think when you still look at this team on paper, we're in a really good spot. Even though we maybe don't have some of these more explosive names like the Dodgers or the Yankees or some of these other teams in baseball do, we are more like the Rangers, comparably, where you've got enough guys that bring the star power and the firepower, and you're just solid front to back. If healthy, the Astros are still that. But we're coming off a season that was disappointing, so we're all looking forward to seeing better days ahead. And it's a scary spot that we're in when you consider that Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman both become free agents after 2024, that Kyle Tucker is out there looking for an extension, that some of our pitching, Verlander's old. He's old. He's an old man, right? So, there are things about the team that still worry you a little bit if you're an Astros fan. And having seen the results that we did last year, I think it's perfectly okay to feel that way. But I want to hear from y'all. Subscribe, rate, and review if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Tell your friends about the show, obviously. And remember, every episode of Banging the Can is available on youtube.com/@bangingthecan if you are listening on one of the audio platforms. Go subscribe. Even if you're an audio listener, go subscribe. youtube.com/@bangingthecan. If you're here, subscribe. Hit the button. On that note, please share the most unapologetic Houston sports show in existence with your friends and family, and support our sponsors as well. This is the only way the show continues to go and hopefully grow, is if you support our sponsors, if you tell your people. Right, today we had Factor, a new sponsor. Head to factormeals.com/BTC50. Use code BTC50. Get 50% off. That's BTC50 at factormeals.com. You can see the sign above me if you're watching on YouTube. /BTC50 to get 50% off. Use code BTC50. Check out my startup, Bolen Media, by going to bolenmedia.com. My comedy show, The Ross Bolen Podcast, available wherever you're getting Banging the Can. If you're a big F1 fan, go to youtube.com/@FormulaBone and check out Bolen Media's premier F1 programming, hosted by Jared J-Bone Borislow, Formula Bone. If you love TV and movies, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles is another Bolen Media show that's all about TV and movies, hosted by me and one of my best friends of over 20 years, Barrett Dudley, who is also from Houston, another Houston guy there. Support Bolen Media. Tell your friends and family this holiday season as you're traveling about the show, about what we've got going on. Follow us on social media everywhere, at Banging the Can, on TikTok, on Instagram, on X, formerly known as Twitter. Tell your people to follow us as well. I'm Ross Bolen. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at WRBOLEN. By the way, I usually live tweet in some degree, big Rockets games, the Texans games, obviously. I didn't have much to say during the Jets game because what the fuck could you say? But at Banging the Can. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, share. Do your thing. I'll be back next week, hopefully talking about a win over the Titans. My God. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's been a very positive season for the Texans so far. I do not want to see it end on a big negative note. Until next time, H-Town, stay down.